Welcome everybody to May's Coffee with the Mayor. And I'd like to welcome you all and introduce our Mayor, Teresa Gerringer.
Good morning. Yes,
Cheers.
Coffee, everyone. That was in the instructions. Grab your coffee or tea or whatever beverage you have this morning. But anyway, good morning and thank you all for being here. When Jay and I were on just by ourselves, which by the way, we'll cut that out of the recording. It starts recording as soon as we arrive. I said, is it Friday yet? There's a lot going on in Lafayette and in my life personally and professionally, all good things. But I'm glad to see all of you here today, and I see people continuing to come in. I want to kick off. I know there's a lot going on in the community, and I want to kick off though with our exciting news that we're just about a little over a week away from Lafayette's first annual Community Day. And I want to remind everyone to be to show up next week at the Plaza Park on June 4th. We'll kick off at 9:15. Registration starts at 8:30. We'll kick off at 9:15 with a rally welcoming everyone before, as of right now, almost 150 people go out to volunteer at a number of projects throughout the community. I did just look on the website and there are a few slots left for painting and beautifying the gazebo. A couple of slots left for the creek restoration and also what we're calling Beautify Lafayette, which is basically going around and picking up litter and trash. Not a lot of it in Lafayette, but we did find some spots that could use some love and attention. And I want to give a shout out. I don't see her this morning. She's probably working on the final pieces of it, but Christine Raymond and her team at Lafayette Social. But Christine Raymond has taken the lead on behalf of the Community Foundation. This effort is a partnership with, led by the Community Foundation in partnership with our amazing chamber and the City of Lafayette. So we're very excited to launch this next week. Everyone will come back to the Plaza Park for a banquet, a community table, if you will. And thanks to Jay and Evergood Sausage, we'll have a nice repast and then enjoy music from the Traveling Wilbury Review. And so just a great community day right here in Lafayette as we kick off the summer. With that, I do want to say congratulations to all of the students and their parents for graduation. I know that last night was the promotion for the Stanley students, and tonight will be commencement. So just a reminder that if you have any place else to be, don't be right around Akalani's at 6 o'clock. There will be a lot of traffic over there, but very exciting for the students. And we had a Lafayette City Schools meeting yesterday and we had lots of gratitude, but I want to share here just huge thanks and congratulations to the administration, the teachers, the parents, the students for making it all the way through a year in the classroom through the pandemic and after the pandemic. And so just exciting and starting with all of that great news. I know I already see questions, but a little bit about what's going on with the City Council. We had a long, productive meeting on Monday where we actually kicked off. I'm going to continue with the feel-good stuff. And the feel-good stuff, we ended the meeting with feel-good stuff too, but we celebrated Bob Athade for his over 40 years, but 45 years as an educator, but 39 years here in Lafayette, and we gave him a proclamation following his what I called week and a half of celebrating Bob Athade, starting with the concert at the Res and then the Jazz Cafe, and then a really lovely open house for him on last Sunday. So if you want to see all of that, you can go back and view the YouTube channel, thanks to our amazing communications person, Suzanne Erla, and I see her Zoom name here, but you can watch any of the meetings of the council at our YouTube channel. At that meeting, we also approved a draft, moved forward with input to staff on the housing element. And I want to thank all members of the community and the GPAC, Matt Pease, Jim Cervantes. I don't see others on here, but all of our community members for their engagement and input through this process and getting us to this step. The council approved opportunity sites that some changes from what GPAC recommended, a couple of changes from what the Planning Commission recommended, but included opportunity sites that will go to the housing and community development by July 1st. So on June 13th, we will bring it back with the edits and suggestions that council shared with staff. June 27th, we will come back and we will approve the draft that will go forward. And this is another step in the process. HCD will review it. They have 90 days. Our staff will continue to engage with them throughout that process. It will then come back to us as a community and as the council to make any edits or changes. So for those of you who haven't been watching every second of it, we did approve including the BART station, as many of you, BART lot, as many of you know, AB 2923 requires that the BART lots be upzoned to 75 units per acre. And that will happen whether we proactively do something. It will happen on July 1st. We included those units, if you will, to zone and allow for housing. Remember, it's very important. The city doesn't build housing. We're allowing zoning that will meet the RHNA numbers and the RHNA allocations that have been given to us. We basically followed what the Planning Commission had recommended, but we did keep it at the 75, not 80. We had a number, we took out, the Planning Commission took out De Silva. We did up our allocation of accessory dwelling units. There have been some changes in what HCD will accept. And so with a lot of work on a number of community members and recommendations, we did increase those. So I will answer questions after, but I see that David Clark had asked about the De Silva property across from Oakwood. GPAC had included that on a very close vote in their recommendations, and Planning Commission had removed it from their recommendations. The owner has submitted a letter expressing interest in working with the city on building there and potentially working with us to get a field there. As for years, the community has been trying to work in our parks, trails, and recreation on adding fields. So most of our kids go outside of Lafayette, excuse me, to participate in sports. David, we did not move forward with that, with upzoning that. All of the opportunity sites, all of the work that GPAC did, all of the things on the spreadsheet, on the big working document are still in the mix if HCD doesn't approve the BART site. And I don't know how in the weeds folks, would like me to go. I can answer questions after, but the BART site is somewhat questionable based on HCD's criteria and BART's, where we are on BART's list of places to develop. So we will see. We're going to send it forward, and it's our first volley, if you will. And if they don't approve all of those sites or some of those sites, we will come back, and De Silva and many of the other properties will be back in the mix. And I will leave it at that. Yeah, so I think I got both of David's questions in there. Excuse me. And I want to thank Suzanne for putting up links as we go through this. So let's see, Community Day, Students and Education, Housing Element. On June 13th, we will be hearing the next round of recommendations from the Transportation and Circulation. We've been doing a lot of work analyzing safe routes to school and ways to improve safety throughout the community. And we, as a council, have approved some tool recommendations for what we call quick build. We've changed from low hanging fruit, but quick build, where, you know, some striping and painting, and as Mike Moran calls it, paint and sticks, to improve safety at crosswalks and pick up and drop off and all of those things. Tool will be coming back and presenting the transportation circulation recommendations for the other schools that weren't included in the earlier work that we've done. We have, the council has committed, and I'm going to forget the exact amount, but money toward the all of these improvements. And we had the Palos Colorados. Many of you who have been following along know that we got a settlement from Palos Colorados lawsuit, and of $2,250,000. And between our safe routes to schools and our capital improvement projects and some improvements at the roundabout, the council has committed that money. So in partnership with the schools and the community on providing input, we will be doing that work as much as we can over the summer, but it will continue on into next year. So I think I will stop there and open it up to questions. I'm sure I missed something that's just burning on folks' minds, and I'm reading David's questions, but I'm going to process that for a minute and turn it back over to Fred or.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Any questions for the mayor? Either put your hand up or use your virtual hand. I see Jay's got his hand up. All right, Jay, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'll start off with a couple of questions. I know that there's probably 200 questions more on housing element that we'd all like to ask, and I'm sure we'll get to it. So, but I want to stay on the subject of safety for just a second. And I'm thinking about two very important issues. One is the school, the safety of our students at school, and this horrendous thing that just happened again in Texas. How ready are we really for something like that? And number two, the wildfires that are sure to happen again in Lafayette. I know there's been a lot of work done on both of these topics. Can you share with us, what has changed between the time we checked in on this last summer when wildfires were threatening us, and where we are now?
Yes, thank you. And I chose to wait until the very end to comment on yet another shooting at a school. In our city schools meeting yesterday, we did talk about it, and I was looking to see if the chief was here, but are we ever ready? I mean, are we ever really ready for, something like that is sort of my first reaction. But our schools are actually, I am actually tired of talking about these kinds of things, and I'm sorry, but our schools, our chief of police, and students and teachers before the pandemic, and will resume them, I believe did have at least one this year, have active emergency active shooter drills. Our police department have, I learned yesterday, what are called sling bags. And if the chief were on here, he might correct me on all the terminology, but are prepared that if something happens and they have to go on campus, they have not only a response to the shooter, but medical bags and things like that to respond immediately to whatever situation is there. The schools have, codes and things like that to get students to shelter in place. And so yes, I mean, the schools are doing and have a good relationship with our police department and the city, and are doing what they can to be prepared and to be able to respond. Again, I'll just say, are we ever really ready? And should our students and our parents and our teachers have to worry about being safe at school? So without going into making it political or editorializing, I'll stop there. In terms of wildfire, same thing. I want to give just a huge shout out to the residents. I don't know about the rest of you, but when I drive around Lafayette, last year I would, just brown dead trees would jump out at me everywhere. And you just see that residents have really taken defensible space and clearing our spaces to be prepared. As our fire chiefs have said to us, we're actually the first actual first responders for our property, the first line of defense. And so shout out to everyone for doing that. I believe we're past our requirement date for our weed abatement. So if you haven't gotten that done, you'll want to pay attention to that as well. Ben reported yesterday that the wildfire guide, preparation guide that started here in Lafayette, shout out to Duncan Siebert and the CERT group, has been updated and will be coming into our mailboxes later this month with updated information and our evacuation maps. We have lots of technology, Zone Haven, where you can go on, type in your address, know exactly which zone you're in and what your evacuation routes are. And just all of the tips. Again, Lafayette, over the last 2 years, has increased our participation in the community warning system. And so if you're not signed up, you can go, I believe it's www.cws.com, but just type in community warning system into your search, and you can go and sign up. So I think we're over 90% of our residents are signed up, but that one more person, it will be a good thing. That's the system that is really just only used, except for when it's being tested in an emergency situation. Nixle and all of the other alerts are great, but the one that you want to be signed up for in an actual emergency is the community warning system, and it'll come to your cell phone, your computers, your phone, if anybody has a landline. So I think we're good. I think we are good in being better prepared this year, but we can always do better. Jay.
I would just say, since Suzanne's on the line, maybe she'd like to tell everybody about the radio station that we have.
Yes, thank you. And I was going to say, and we have an app also, but go ahead, Suzanne.
Good morning, folks. Yeah, thanks for that, Jay. So the City of Lafayette a couple years ago did install the equipment and got the licensing to be able to have a community information and radio station. So it's AM 1670. And so we do encourage everyone to preset that in your car radio. And the nice thing about having an AM radio station is if the power was down and you didn't have access to, be hearing, the media on TV, and you didn't have access to the internet, we would still be able to broadcast on this AM channel that actually can be heard throughout La Marinda. So we do encourage everyone to kind of preset 1670 on their AM dial. You could listen to it on an emergency radio that you have if the power's out. And then obviously, if you had access to your car, you could listen to it there as well. So we encourage folks to have awareness about that and remember that as a resource as well.
Great, thank you. And thank you, Jay, for for giving the shout out on that. Thanks, Suzanne. So I think, yeah, safety and wildfire, I think that we are trying to be as proactive as we can. So I'm happy to answer other, on David Clark's question about council expressing concern about increasing density downtown. We did not include any increase in density in the downtown area. So that's kind of as much as I can comment on the full council position. GPAC and the Planning Commission and Council have all had the discussions around because of density bonus laws and waivers, how much increase in the downtown area can we support? At Vice Mayor Anduri, who I also see is on here, at his suggestion at our planning retreat, we are moving forward with a downtown update to our downtown specific plan to include the whole Mount Diablo corridor. So looking at ways that housing, density, jobs, and our small businesses and all of those things will evolve as we move forward. So that, I believe that discussion will continue as we go forward, and how we can increase access from our neighborhoods through trails and pathways and things like that to the downtown. So we're very active, and the community will be a key part of that discussion as we go forward. Excuse me.
Great. Okay. Any other questions that we've got for the mayor? Jay's got another one. Go ahead.
If no one's got them, I got a million of them. Okay.
And so actually, Jay, before you ask, Larry Blodgett isn't here, and I have that there is at least one property that is being looked at to come forward for additional development, and I was all ready to tell him, but we'll leave that for the next meeting. So go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, we'll switch topics. One of the ways in which the city council was using the ARPA funds, the COVID relief funds, was through the e-card, e-gift card program. And it started off really strong with people participating in it, but we did have some problems. And I know that City Council at their previous meeting looked at that and made some changes. Can you comment on what those changes were?
I know that we increased, there was a limit of 5,000 at any restaurant or any business. I want to invite Vice Mayor Anduri, because Vice Mayor Anduri and Councilmember Dawson are our ARPA representatives, and hopefully he'll forgive me for putting him on the spot, but I don't think he'll be too upset. But Carl, do you want to answer questions about the e-gift card? And thank you, Suzanne, for putting it up there. I do know that you can still participate. Carl.
Well, yes, that is correct. The limit of $5,000 has been lifted. So if a business is on the list now for the program, it'll stay on the list for the program as long as it wants to be there. There are more businesses being added. There was a lull, but we had an ARPA meeting a couple of days ago, and there was a jump in the number of people who are buying the cards and using the cards. So we hope that increase continues. So it's a great program. Encourage everybody who's on here to take advantage of it, because it helps our businesses, and encourage others to take advantage of the program.
And if you were wondering which businesses or how you can get your e-card today, there is a link in the chat. So we encourage you to continue to participate. And I wanted to respond to Cheryl's question. I started to actually mention this when talking about the downtown specific plan or Mount Diablo corridor update and GPAC's role. GPAC, the planning department is going to be coming forward with their work plan, And as part of that, they will be bringing forward timelines and how we will move forward with this downtown specific plan, Mount Diablo corridor update. And at that time, it will also be presented, once the council has approved that, it'll be presented to GPAC. So currently, we don't know exactly, how that process is going to move forward, but we will know shortly. And GPAC at their last meeting was very anxious to hear what the role will be, because we are going to kind of pause some of the work. There are pieces that will still go forward, the land use, safety, all of those things will be part of that. And we look forward to hopefully those GPAC members wanting to continue it as a little bit of change in the job description. So we're working through that, but thanks for the question, Cheryl. I see Kathy Merchant has her actual hand raised.
I just want to make one comment on the gift card program. I finally got to use my card that I got. I went to one of the restaurants on the list and they said it's just been great for business. On the other hand, the small business people are very upset that the $5,000 limit was raised, because that refocuses the money largely to the restaurants. Mm-hmm. So it still is something that needs to be looked at and as to how it gets implemented, because the really small businesses are not necessarily thriving based on the program, but the restaurants are doing very well.
Great, thank you for that input. And
I would mention also that a lot of the small businesses have actually started writing in some very nice comments about the fact that they are seeing new people that always wanted to come and try them out, and this gave them the opportunity to do it. I think to follow up on what Carl said, one of the things is that there were a couple of businesses that were so popular that they hit that $5,000 limit so quickly. Yeah. And then people were coming in before they even had a chance to know that they had hit their limit. And the limit was included with both the gift card. Basically, in case you don't know about this program, you buy this gift card and then the city matches you. You can buy 2 cards and up to $100 each, and the city will match that card with the same amount of money. So the deal was really good, and it's money. It goes back to the businesses. So it's been a great idea. But there were some glitches, and there were a couple of businesses that started it, maxed out, and have not renewed. So make sure you check the list to see who's on there. But more businesses will now be added, and there has been some more money approved by the city council to keep that program going longer. Carl.
Just on that point, only 1/5 of the amount of money that will be out there through the cards has actually been redeemed. So there's still the big impact of the program is yet to come.
When you spend it, yeah.
Yeah. And I have mine. So Paul, hold on one second. Cheryl McDonald had her hand up, and then Paul. And then I wrote a note to myself on 2 things I want to share at the end. So Cheryl, welcome. And
Cheryl, looks like
Cheryl, you're on mute. Yeah. There you go.
That other button.
It happens to all of us. Good morning.
Good morning. And yes, I have my coffee. So it's kind of hard. I go to some of these meetings where it talks about housing and projects that are going through approval, not single family homes, but like projects in the downtown. And I've been at planning meetings and city council meetings where it seems like there's some, at the end, after making a decision, there's some frustration by either planning or council about not being able to vote on everything that they could in the past because of state laws. So, and that's really hard as, I've never been involved personally, but it seems like it affects people that aren't involved as well, because it affects me and I feel bad that the decisions are limited. And I just wanted to know what your view was on this proposal of trying to bring control back, or just not even the proposal at all, just is it frustrating for you? I imagine it is, but I guess it's just the control versus the lack of control, or you know what I'm saying. I'm wondering your view on how we can work with this best. Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl, for that question. And so the local control over the last several years, has been in some ways under attack because of housing laws and limits and things like that to our actual ability to vote, as you pointed out, to vote on things. I appreciate that there are problems that the legislature is trying to solve on a state and a regional basis. I also believe that we do know sort of how best to protect and to work within our city to do certain things. So it's, I feel like it's a challenge, it's a pressure point for us, because we do need to be part of the regional solution, as the Vice Mayor pointed out the other night in our housing element discussion, while continuing to protect our open spaces and our beautiful community and all of those things. So for me, it's the how do we do all of that while still having to comply with the laws that are in front of us? And so that's what the council is faced with. And I know there are a number of people, myself included, who reach out to our legislators and try to advocate for what is best for our community. And some people are moving forward, and maybe the council at some point will decide to vote and join in that effort for a proposition that's going forward to roll back and to change our ability to respond to all of those zoning laws. For me, it's doing that pushback at the same time that we have to comply with the law, because I believe one of my roles is also making sure that we're not exposed to lawsuits and to actions by either the state or developers or individuals. So Cheryl, I think you frustrated is a good way to put it. And we will continue to work as a council on how best to navigate all of that. I personally, we did have a legislative report the other day. All of us should be paying attention to what's happening in Sacramento. And this week we have been responding to a number of bills that will further limit our ability to govern. And so advocacy, working through it, trying to figure out how to do that while still trying to figure out our best way to be part of the solution to problems that I believe are real. I know that there's a debate on whether or not there's really a housing crisis. So hopefully that covers it. And Paul, you had a question, and then I see Papa John.
Not a question. Good morning, everyone. Not a question, just a comment online with the e-card program. I think that's a really, really good way to kind of support the businesses and also let the community feel like they're participating, in this whole sort of support for everyone. And, so just last weekend, I organized a little dinner for some of my daughter's parents, and we went out to the restaurant and used it. And it kind of felt good that we were, doing it for sort of like our own selfish reason, but at the same time, it was sort of part of this program and we were supporting our local businesses. So I thought that was very creative. And I know that Alpi also got some money from the city. So I just wanted to sort of express the gratitude for that sort of taking place.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I want to give a shout out also to our community.
Almond latte.
Oh, there we go. I want to give a shout out to the committee and also Thomas and the chamber for working closely on how best to support small businesses, well, all businesses, but also how to reach directly to families and individuals who were impacted by the pandemic. And so through Lafayette Community Foundation, making sure that money was donated and out to those like Meals on Wheels and others to make sure that we're using that money to its intended purpose. And I think that so far we've done a great job at that. So thanks for the comment, Paul. And I saw Papa John. Welcome, John Kiefer. Very personal. No.
Yeah, change subject. So is it all right, Teresa, to communicate with you on the subject of election candidates?
Please, yeah, go ahead and reach out. For what it's worth, I'm happy to talk to anybody about it. And then, and particularly we'll have some thoughts as we move forward into November. But any other? So I do want to, I almost forgot, but I wanted to announce that beginning next, on June 6th, through the month of June, in partnership with the library and the Lafayette Library and Learning Center Foundation, there will be a wellness center. For those of you who may not know, all of our school sites have wellness centers where, just as the name implies, where students can go for any kind of social, emotional, behavioral, physical. There's a nurse there, but a place to get support, in which, as you can imagine, it's hard being a teen. Dr. Nickerson put it best yesterday. It's hard being a teen at any point in time, but particularly during the last couple of years. And one of the things that that we noticed several years ago is that the wellness centers close for the summer, and so there's nowhere that our teens and youth can go for that same support. So Jennifer Wakeman, Beth Needle, and Dr. McFadder Harris, who is works at Akalani's, partnered together to come up with a pilot program. And so I don't remember the exact times, but you can look on the library website. It'll be a drop-in. There a lot of work going on behind the scenes to 11 to 2. Thank you, Katie Foreman. And a lot of effort to find volunteer activities. They had hoped to have one-on-one counseling services, but will not do that this year just because of the logistics of working that out. And but we'll provide that support, and we'll have that handoff back to the schools as we go forward. So much excitement about that. And I want to thank Grace Dixon, who I understand is stepping up to volunteer to coordinate and be an adult on site during that time. There are volunteer opportunities, so you can email me, and I'll put you in touch if you want to volunteer with that program over the summer. I just am very excited that we're able to launch this at the library this summer. I did also want to share that, speaking of working with our legislators, Congressman DeSaulnier has these community benefit, in the old days they were called something else, earmarks, but community benefit grants, and was able to put forward 15 projects this year. And the City of Lafayette has been putting forward a pathway on School Street to connect Moraga Road to the La Miranda, connect from Moraga Road, but initially from First Street to the La Miranda Trail and then to downtown. And that grant proposal was put forward, selected as one of the 15 that has now moved forward to the Appropriations Committee as part of the federal budget process. Also, the City of Orinda submitted on behalf of La Miranda a grant proposal for Smart Signal program, which would, just as it says, upgrade our signals so that they could be programmed to during busy times. But one of the things that I think, back to the wildfire question, is they can also be programmed to do counterflow in the event of evacuations and be very targeted. So that proposal also went forward. So fingers crossed. He had put forward the Smart Signal program last year and it didn't make it all the way through the appropriations process, but it's like the lottery ticket. It doesn't make it through if you're not on the desk and buying that ticket. So I'm excited and thankful to Congressman DeSaulnier on that. We have also submitted a couple of grant proposals to our Assembly member, Rebecca Bauer-Cahan, and Senator Glazer. And Senator Padilla. We don't know the status of those yet. Those are still in process. So the SWELL program, mental health wellness, make sure that if you know any teens, middle schoolers, it starts from middle school and up. We have a place to go over the summer, and then potential grant funding opportunities for projects in Lafayette. So any other questions?
Other questions for the mayor?
Comments, things that you want to hear about next time?
All right.
Quiet group.
I guess we're not sticking to the coffee rule.
The people didn't get their coffee. So, well, okay.
Coffee.
I'm going to take this opportunity to go back to Community Day. I want to thank our sponsors, and I do see Kimberly Lamb here from Republic Services. Republic Service is our major sponsor of the Community Day, as they are of a number of events in Lafayette. And Martin Homes is also a sponsor of Community Day, as Evergood Sausage and the chamber. And so just, a huge thanks. The other thing that will be happening that morning is that at 8:30 next week, we will be once again raising the pride flag throughout the month of June in support of our LGBTQ plus residents and community members. We passed what I'm going to call a proclamation of proclamations back in January. So the council has already passed the proclamation in support, and will fly the progress flag actually at 3 locations, but we'll be raising it on June 4th at 8:30. And I see Mike McGill, welcome, and has his hand up.
Thank you, Teresa. And since you had a little extra time, I thought I'd share this. Under your predecessor, there was queries about what could we do about recycled water in Lafayette. And of course, I'm now currently liaison to Lafayette, Orinda, and Moraga. And Central San has 3 different studies underway. One is, how would we bring water directly, or what are opportunities to bring recycled water directly into the community? The second one is, how could we make our water available to East Bay Mud so they increase their volume of available water? And then thirdly, is there a regional exchange program possible? And we don't have the results of those studies yet. I was really hoping to have them in hand to be able to have my meeting with the mayor, as we do once a year. But we should have information coming out soon. It's going to require cooperation from the water districts, but the community needs to be involved in the choices and how do we want to spend money? So I will be getting back to you, and that's just an FYI to the community.
Great. And then we can, in addition to us meeting Mike, we can have you come and do a presentation to the council. I will request council support for that at our next meeting, or after we talk about the right timing.
Great. We have talked about possibly doing a tri-meeting with the 3 cities.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would be more efficient. And I know we've been talking about the recycled water when I was on the school board for years and years. We've been talking about that in our purple pipes. So I look forward to the conversation. Cheryl,
every drought, the conversation resurrects itself, and then it starts to rain, and we don't get very far.
Yeah. No, we need to look at all of those possible solutions. So, Cheryl, I see your hand.
The gentleman who just spoke, I just wanted to follow up with him. He kind of put something in my head that I had heard about in the past. Is there a project coming with the sanitation district along Mount Dell Boulevard going down, I think, Moraga Road? Is that happening in the near future? I thought either you or the gentleman who just spoke might know.
Mike, do you want to respond to that?
Well, we have a number of projects scheduled. I'd have to look specifically to see if we're doing one on Mount Diablo and then down Moraga. But we have a series of ongoing pipe upgrades or pipe repair projects. So, and if you can't see my name, I'm Michael McGill, and you can find me at Central Contra Costa Sanitary District and shoot me an email and I'll get you more specific information.
And offline, Cheryl, I will connect you with Mike.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would like to know what's in the works too. So I don't know if the vice mayor is aware of anything, but we will get that information. So any other questions or comments? I do love that we take the time out of our busy schedule, and I want to thank the Chamber for providing this opportunity to communicate together. I know that these have been in person in the past. I believe that we have, just as with our council meetings, I believe we have more people who might attend than if we were in person. But someday I look forward to being back in person with all of you. Not right now. Everybody, continue to stay vigilant because there is a bit of a surge going on.
Yes, there is. If we don't have any more questions, I'm going to ask Holly to give us a quick update on upcoming events.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Teresa, for the wonderful information and for the big push about Community Day next Saturday. The Lafayette Chamber has hit the ground running, and I'd like to quickly take this moment to say Sarah Regan is a staff member and she is online. And Jay Lifson is staff member at the Chamber. And we have Fred Steingraff is our board president this year. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. We see other board members and sponsors and ambassadors online today. Like I said, we hit the ground running. Last week, we had our Taste of Lafayette restaurant stroll. Highly successful restaurants outdid themselves. We had over 500 community members strolling our streets or outside in support of the Lafayette Community Foundation and the Lafayette Chamber of Commerce. Last night, we actually had a Lafayette Young Professionals meetup at Headlands. It is great to see our young entrepreneurs coming out, and we be continuing with young professional events, including a poker tournament on June 25th, if anyone's interested in attending. That is going to be a fundraiser for our cancer support community. Hitting the ground running, I would like to put a plug in for the Lafayette Res Run for education. Believe it or not, we are thinking about events already in October, but raising much needed funds for our schools. Our run last year, which was actually held in the downpour, to say the least, of the atmospheric river, we actually raised over $42,000 that went directly back to our schools. So right now, there's an early bird special. You can actually get a registration for any of the races, including the virtual race, and a t-shirt for $25. So we'll have the information on our website, but the early bird $25 registration fee will be through the end of June. So now is the time to sign up and to start training for that 10K, which is rather aggressive. That actually goes around the reservoir. So I hope to see you guys out there running. Besides Community Day next week, we're actually starting and bringing back our Rock the Plaza concert series. So every Friday evening, starting next Friday, June 3rd, we will be in Plaza Park with some great local bands. The last Friday, which is the 24th, will actually be La Miranda Idol finalists from the La Miranda Arts Council. So 3 great cover bands and Long Run to Idle, 6 to 8:30 on Friday evenings in June, totally free, bring the picnic, purchase from a local restaurant. We hope to see you downtown. Our coffee with the mayors through COVID on Zoom have been highly successful, and I want to thank you all for joining us. The past 2 years, our president at the time, John McCormick, ran our Zooms, and I'd like to actually invite all of you to a dinner honoring John McCormick, because he is this year's Business Person of the Year. So John, this is probably the first coffee that John has missed, and he is actually graduating with a master's degree from Harvard today. So we gave him an excuse to go to his graduation today, but we are going to be celebrating him a Business Person of the Year dinner, and that is going to be on Friday, June 24th. So all these registrations are on our website. We're all here to help you answer any questions that you have or direct you where you need to go. So please feel free to reach out to us. And happy Friday. Congratulations, graduates. Last Friday, we had our car parade through downtown Lafayette. That was so much fun and so exciting to see all our graduates and all the parents lining Mount Diablo. So I think that too will be an annual event the Friday before graduation. So note that for any upcoming seniors. It's just a great chance to be downtown and see a lot of maybe your own alumni. So feel free to reach out to any questions. Our next coffee, it's scheduled for same time, 8 o'clock, Friday, July 29th. And we'll have registration out for all of you to sign up for Zoom then as well. But we look forward to seeing everyone in person at our other upcoming events. The Chamber is actually busily planning for the 25th Art and Wine Festival. So please go ahead and mark your calendars. Don't schedule vacation on September 17th and 18th of this fall. If anyone is interested in volunteering, we welcome all types of volunteering efforts for the festival. You can reach out to us for that as well. Thank you.
All right. Fantastic, Holly. Thank you.
So I don't know about the rest of you, but wow. And the Chamber, I just want to say thank you to the Chamber for everything that you do. I mean, a lot. Lafayette is so blessed to have such an active chamber and a handful of staff members, but I know there are lots of volunteers. But I just want to say, wow. And my calendar's filling up, Holly.